My name is Anne Hutchinson Guest, and I am actually Dr. Anne Hutchinson Guest, and I evolved the language of dance approach to exploring movement, and I'm happy to say that there are many LOD, language of dance, people here at this conference. You might say I'm retired, but I'm still producing books. I dance for my own pleasure, as the other evening when they had the improvisation through the ages. But professional dancing, no, not when you're in your 90s. Years ago, in the early days when I was in New York studying dance, somehow or other I got involved with a group that were putting on a review, which was various pieces. It had the slightly unfortunate title of being called Opened by Mistake, the title of the review. You know what the critics did with that. Anyway, Helen Tamiris was the choreographer, and she was putting on a circus piece in which she was the lion, and with her hair, you know, this very bushy golden red hair, and Daniel Negrin, who at that point was her protege and very new to dance, was the lion trainer. And it was wonderful the way she was coaching him and showing him the movements, and he was gradually getting it. But at that point, he was pretty rough at the edges. But in a way, it was appropriate because that energy that he always had was there. And I think that got him through performances, and probably in his teaching, this kind of thrust like that always seemed to be there. So I was one of the little circus ponies or something in that piece, but it was wonderful experience doing those sort of shows. Later on, I was fortunate enough to get on Broadway, and I danced in the what they call the golden era of the Broadway musical for 8 years. And then I began teaching. Well, I can't go into all the detail of my life because we're talking about Danny. I think the most vivid memory was seeing his performance of Strange Hero. I can't remember what else he did at that time. But, and of course that early remembrance when I saw him before he really became a dancer. I met him, he was in London giving a performance which I was asked to review for the Dancing Times magazine. And he did a very interesting piece where he carried a log of wood and he entered, and he had this sort of sideward step that gradually, it went back and forth, but gradually progressed. And I thought that was fascinating, how he kept this thing going and this sort of pressing on and not really deviating. Then I was at Arizona State visiting at one point, and he was on the staff then. Oh, and also I saw before that, I saw his Strange Hero dance, one of his solo dances. And it was the most perfect example of a double tension. he had this tension in his arm, but the hand was floppy. So here was this hero, you see, and this distortion, which in a way reminded me of those very early days when Tamiris was coaching him. He obviously used to advantage in a piece like it was a gangster idea, strange hero. And then, as I say, we ran into each other at Arizona State, and just, it seemed to me he still had that, and his relationship with his students, this wonderful energy.